I learned a lot from my mother, especially how to nurture things, how to take care of things, and most importantly, how to remember things. And that's why today I want us to talk about taking the stones of 2022. I know we're fast approaching 2023. Yes, we still have a few days before Christmas, and then the new year comes. God willing, we all get in safely. But it's important we know what it means to take the stones with us. And when I'm talking about taking the stones, I mean like taking the evidences, the memories, the goodness of 2022. It's human nature sometimes to focus on all the things that are not working, especially with mothers, with women. We know how to nurture, we know how to keep things within us. The husband does something, we keep it within our tummy. The same way we know how to do that is good for us to count the blessings and name them one by one. So when we're talking about taking the stones with us, it's good for us to count those blessings so we can have those memories. When we look at the scripture in the book of Joshua 4 to be precise, God told Joshua after they crossed the river Jordan, he said, while the Ark of the Covenant was still on the riverbed, he said to Joshua, choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, let them go back into the river. At this time, the river was like dry because God caused the water to stop so that the children of Israel can cross over. He said, tell them to pick 12 stones. And he said the reason why we need to have stones with us is it acts as a memorial of the power of God, of the faithful love of God for 2022. In the case of the children of Israel, it said these stones will act as a memorial that God brought you out from the river as of dry ground. And there's another thing that we do for you as well. When your children ask you, why do you have the stones? You tell them of the faithfulness of God. You and I need to do the same as we go into the new year. It's time for us to begin to collect the stones from January till December, so that when we see those stones, when we see those victories, when we are going through a seemingly, a state where maybe we don't like some things going on, with those stones that we have as evidence, it reminds us of the power of God. We see the story we hear the story of the children of Israel going through the Red Sea, and now they crossed on the other side and they were faced with some challenges. They completely forgot the power that brought them through the Red Sea. And I'm sure God did not want that to happen again. And he said, you know what? I want these people to have something to remember about my power. And you and I need to take something with us as we go into 23 so that we can remember the power of God. The beautiful thing is when we begin to take the stones with us, when we are women who I focus on the victories, we focus on the positivity, we do not, pay attention to the media, to the news, to all the negative energy. People tend to want to, feel like you're bragging a lot. And we saw that with the case of David. David knew himself, he knew who he was, he knew where he came from. And when he, came on the scene during, Goliath ranting and boasting on how he was going to destroy, the army, the Lord's army, David said, who is this guy? David started asking questions, and his brother, the same household, said to him, you're being proud, you're being deceitful. When you're taking stones with you and you're moving, and people around you, or your workplace, in your family, among your friends, they begin to look at you like, what's going on with you? Like, they said there's recession, they said there's inflation. How come you're still talking big? I'm going to buy the property, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's like, come on, stop being proud. This was the case of David. It was like, shut up, stop being proud, just be quiet, like, just align with the negativity, just align with the fear. But David said no. He kept asking questions. He said, what will be given to this man that would bring down this uncircumcised Philistine? And they told him what the things that were going to be given to the man. And then he said to Saul, he said, you know what, I can bring this man down. Saul said, no, this game is not for children. David said, look, in my own words now, he said, I know who is backing me up. You know, when I was taking care of my father's sheep, you know, the lion came trying to kill the sheep, you know, trying to take what I was taking care of, and I killed it by the power of God. That's what he was trying to say. I tore it into pieces. Like, I can bring this man down, because David had stones. He had evidence. When David was speaking about his resume, he had evidence. He had the stones within him, and that's why he knew what he was talking about. In this day and time, we need to know what we are talking about, because when we look at the story of David and we connect it with the children of Israel in the case of Joshua, at the end of that chapter 4, God said, I did this so that all nations will know that the hand of God is powerful. I did this so that you can fear me forever. We saw that happen exactly in the case of David, because David became a wonder. Saul said, who is your father? When you take stones with you, when you're a woman that takes stones with you, people begin to ask who your father is. They want to identify with you. They want to understand what you understand, because Saul was blown away. David did not bring down Goliath with, golden javelin or some sword. He brought down Goliath with 5 fine stones that he picked. Just one of those 5 stones brought down Goliath. It showed the force, it showed the power of God. And Goliath came to the battle with a sword, but that sword was what David used to cut off the head of Goliath. As we go into 2023, we need to have evidences of the power of God. Like David, we need to have fine stones, so that when things happen or things do not align with what we are speaking, we have evidences of the power of God. We are not tossed to and fro. We are not conformed to this world, but we are renewed. Our minds are renewed because we have evidences. We have stones. We have testimonies of what God has done, what God can do. David was a man who experienced the faithful love of God. He saw God display his power through him, because he was a man who had stones. He had evidences. He knew what God had done and what God can do. You and I can align with this way of living. In this day and time, we need to be believing believers indeed, because we have a lot of believers who say they believe but act contrary to what they believe. The way we can be in line with what we say is when we are in touch with things that have happened in our lives. When we know the God that we serve, and we know what God has done and what that same God can do. I leave you with Joshua 4:24. He said, so that all men will know, all nations will know that the hand of God is powerful, and that you will fear God forever. My name is Effie, and this channel is all about spirituality, life, and business. If you're yet to subscribe, do subscribe and click the notification bell so you can get notified when we post beautiful content like this. Till I speak to you again, girl, remain exceptional, and remember to take the stones of 2022. Bye for now.